Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hopefully you're doing well. Thank you for stopping on by. I know that I'm on about an 18-second delay. I just looked at my phone. So welcome aboard. Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for hanging out. I'm just waiting to hear my monitor because I don't have my own microphone in my ear, which maybe I should, but there it is. Sounds good. All right, you guys tell me how it sounds on your end. I am streaming this over on John Canute, which is my regular channel that I've had for ages. I'm also sending this over to the Keystone AV Network page, so if you are interested in following me over there, you can do that as well. I'm not producing a lot of stuff over there, but it's kind of a shell for when that all kind of gets started. So looking forward to getting that going this morning. Let's jump in here. Oh, what's going on, Angus? Good morning. How are you doing? Thanks for stopping on by. Appreciate you sounding off here first thing in the morning. Oh, and he says, it sounds good here. Of course, I clicked that right when it was going away. Sounds good here. Excellent. Thank you very much. Cheers to you, my fellow Canadian. Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for, as always, coming on by. Today I have a Tim Hortons mug with Tim Hortons coffee, so it's very appropriate. I told last week I was back from the Christmas break, and I told stories to pretty much no one about my travels up through, out of Tennessee, through Kentucky, through Ohio, through Michigan, into Ontario. We drove and then came all the way back that same way, and so, of course, we made an extra effort to hit up a few Tim Hortons. So there is one just north of Cincinnati, which is kind of the first one. There are actually Tim Hortons in Nashville. The problem is that they are like on the west side of the city, and I live on the east side. And so even if you're coming down 65, you cut right through the heart of the city. You're still like 45 minutes. You're probably 25, 30 minutes away from the closest Tim Hortons. So it was kind of like out of the way. And if we hadn't hit up a whole bunch on this trip, then maybe, make an effort to get over there. But didn't need to do that because on the way home, which would have been last Saturday, a week ago Saturday, we had, not last Saturday, 2 weeks ago Saturday, wowzers, we would have hit up one in Troy. So we woke up, we stayed in a hotel in Troy, Ohio. There was one in town, so we hit up that one, and then right before we left, right before we hit Cincinnati, we hit up that other one, which is about 45 minutes after our first Tim Hortons stop. So in good Canadian fashion, I'm training my children as it should be. Hit up as many as you can because you don't get to visit too many here in Nashville, especially as you're living south of the city. Southwest of the city doesn't southwest of the city. So it was good, but had to give it up. Now, here's another issue is I've recently run out of my coffee grounds, Tim Hortons coffee grounds, and it turns out that probably something to do with, tariffs or imports or something, but you basically can't get Tim Hortons tins of coffee from Amazon right now. And so, we're all feeling the pinch. No, just kidding. So I have bags of coffee. I have backup reserves, but if we don't figure out something soon, then I may have to make a trip to that Tim Hortons that's over north of the airport. It's actually directly north of the airport. The airport's about 45 minutes from here, so we may have to go stock up. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I'm trying to avoid it because I don't want to eat the donuts. I do like coffee, and I was good about just getting coffee. Maybe had a Timbit here or there, but I've been pretty good about just drinking coffee, especially on that trip to and of course when we got into Ontario, well, it's fair game. We didn't go as often as I thought we would, but we definitely went. So today's non-sponsor, Maple Tim Hortons coffee. It's quite good. I get it in K-Cups, and you can get K-Cups still in the States fairly easily. So all good. You can actually find Tim Hortons ground coffee, but they're asking like $50, which is a little crazy. So probably not gonna do that. All right, so hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for coming on by. Always appreciate it. I did put this post up on LinkedIn, so if you're joining me from the LinkedIn post here, jump in the chat and just say hey, because I would love to know that you're here, and good times. Now, today, I want to get into a conversation. You guys know, or if you've followed the show or followed me online or whatever, you know that I stole a Dante Intercomm system from a guy named Doug Johnson on YouTube. And basically I was going to build his X32 Dante system using an X32 rack mount. But then he said, my productions have gotten so big that I really needed to go to a Dante workflow, and this has worked really well. And then he gives a play-by-play on how to design it. And so that's pretty much what I did with my own ideas mixed in. So if you are unfamiliar with what Dante is audio turned into network data, ones and zeros, and then encoded or decoded that way so you can, put it on your network and take it off your network. Now, like all things that are tailor-made, it will work on your network per se, but it's best to kind of set things up properly for your network, and in particular an AV design network using something like a Netgear 4250. So Netgear 4250 is a specific brand of switch supported by Netgear, and it's a part of their audio video line. So that's kind of the entryway into this, properly done audio and video. And I lived in the world of NDI for quite a while, for about 5.5 years, working for a company called Bird Dog Australia, and we did video on networks. And then as NDI took off and Dante became far more prominent in the audio video space, Netgear came out with a line of switches that specialize in handling that data. And you might think, well, I don't really understand why I need to have a specialized network for this. There are lots of reasons, and you need to really pay attention. If you're going to get into the space, pay attention to doing it correctly the first time around, because it saves you a ton of headaches further on down the road. And I can attest to that for NDI and for Dante, because I've run both of those now. I don't really run an NDI network like I used to. The studio that I work for now has one NDI source on it, which is fine, but it's essentially to capture a camera, add a blurred effect to it, and then it's a part of our countdown, much like the countdown that you saw right here. So this countdown it's designed similar to this. It's like my look, but basically I take this source, my camera source, I blur it, and then I put writing or whatever. Well, for our live streams that we do, or for our church services, we do a countdown, a 5-minute countdown. And so it's the same idea. It shows the stage live through Cam 4, which is a wide shot, and then it blurs it and it puts the countdown on it, puts our logo on it, and away you go. So it's kind of a fun way, I think, to show that, first of all, you're watching a live feed. It's not just some boring graphic, but also, it is kind of a boring graphic, but I'm behind there, so that's kind of a nice way to do that. And then it kind of shows. So in the instance of the church live stream, that with this, where the studio that I'm at, we use that as a way to show, like, people are here. People are in the studio and we're about to go live. And so that's kind of a cool little ramp up for how that, a way that you can engage your audience before your live stream starts. I think it's actually a really cool idea, so much so that I use it here and I use it over there. So in order to avoid the headaches that come with throwing these network protocols on a everyday network, and you may be new to a lot of this stuff and thinking a network's a network. They really aren't. They're tailored to making sure that the data gets across all intact, all in time, as they expect it to. And so I like, if you're going to get into NDI or Dante, I strongly recommend that you take a look at the Netgear 4250s, because before they came out, and there's a line of Ubiquity switches, by the way, that are commercial grade, enterprise grade, and they are getting into the AV space with people having a lot of success. I don't have a personal experience with those, but I have used probably, 60 of these 4250 line switches, and I've ironically, I don't know if it's ironic, but funny enough, I have a brand new one sitting at my feet. So for the conversation we're about to have today. So yeah, if you are interested in getting into doing audio and video over your network, I really recommend that you take a quick look at just the entry-level 4250s. They're a bit of an investment, but they're going to save you a ton of headache, and they are going to guarantee results, which also provided is support services that back up the product. And so instead of just getting a Linksys router or something ridiculous, really look at designing your network over 4250. And my company that I have can help you do all that. So KeystoneAVNetworks.com, or look me up on LinkedIn, Keystone AV Networks. You'll see it's like a blue symbol, white and blue writing. That's me, and that's what I do kind of in my off time. And I help customers get their networks up and running and with as little problems as possible. So that's something, a little self-promotion there. I can help you get that set up. So you don't even need to be network certified. I can provide all the training. I can provide even the customization. If you want to ship me the switches, I can even help you buy the switches. I have everything set up with Broadfield Distributing and Netgear as one of their preferred partners, and so that is all things that I am able to help you with. As a matter of fact, I could run my little overlay here, Netgear AV Level 2 certified, and also Dante certified Level 2. What else do I got on this thing? Oh yeah, switching for over AV over IP. Also have that certification. Boy, I've forgotten all these. I should probably run this more often, but yes, I have all these. If certifications are important, and I'm the guy that can give you a hand over Keystone. So happy to strike up a conversations that we have on LinkedIn about, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Netgear Drive Partner. That's the partnership program. Conversations about, here's what I'm thinking. Is this something we can do? Shoot me a message over on LinkedIn. That's the easiest way, or at hello@KeystoneAVNetworks.com. And that will go directly to my email. So check me out if you have any questions about that stuff. Now today, many of you know that I stole that intercom system design from Doug Johnson. He's over on YouTube. Really informative dude, really helpful, and he put it all up there as like a PSA for all of us nerds who are looking for network ideas. Oh, sorry, I need to jump back to the chat real quick. Angus says, yeah, having an obscured wide shot as a waiting screen is a great way to go. I always try to convince my clients to let me do that. Hey, feel free to you can use the R Safe Harbor as an example if you need one, or my show. Happy to let you use those. They're free resources. If it's like, look, here's a way to do it. Here's what it kind of looks like. It's a very a non-intrusive way to show that, look, there's real people. Look, we're a community, or look, we're a real conference, or it's about to start, or any of that. Kind of gives you a nice little boost as to getting people excited to join and watch. And again, I use it here on this show. Yep, Doug is a smart guy. Agreed. He is very generous with his knowledge on YouTube, and so try and follow along. I check in on him every 2 or 3 months, see what he's up to. Good coffee today. I want to keep drinking it because it's hot right now, and it's good. All right, so I stole Doug's Dante intercom thing. Now, he does some things that I don't do, and I do some things that he doesn't do, but the concept is still the same. Essentially, you get a DSP, which is the brain of your Dante system, and you route all of your Dante signals through that. But then you have, essentially, if you get the right, an appropriate one, you get various bells and whistles that come with it. And in particular, Doug suggested that you try and find a product. Of course, now it's my brain is blanking here. Give me 1 second here. The DSP that I chose was a Radius. Oh, shoot. What's the name of it? 1 second. Oh, shoot. I shouldn't have done that. That's gonna be a problem in a second. View my channel. Of course, right when I'm in the middle of thinking of it, then I blank on it. I made a short about it, so. Where is it? Tag lucky from I'm looking for all of these. Nope, it won't be back. Did I made a short about this, right? No. Oh, weird. Okay, maybe I made a video then. I know it's in here somewhere. It's just a matter of, oh, there it is. So yes, Symmetrix Radius 12x8. And this little unit is super cool because it's basically just a Dante DSP, and it allows you to bring in your primary Dante network. You can even have a backup secondary network if you want. Like, that's protocol in Dante stuff, and we can talk about that another time. But this little thing is really designed for like conference rooms, and you can do all of your routing through that. But then it also has basically like a digital routing board that allows you to go through certain matrices and processes and all that. One of the functions that I really wanted with this next system, because we were coming off of just like a wireless headset, and I wanted to really make some big steps in terms of usability and how it works. One of the things was to bring program into the headsets. And so while we're wearing our closed back Intercomm headsets, we can still listen in to what's going on. Because one of the disorienting things is if you don't have open back headphones, which we did not, we had closed back headphones. If you don't have open back, it's really hard to hear what's going on in the main house if you're in the main house. But if you're not in the main house, if you're in some sort of production room, and at the time of design, we were planning on moving and going into a production room, if you're not in the main room, then you're not going to hear at all what's going on. So we wanted to bring program into the headphones so that our entire crew could still hear what's going on, because our crew is also, they're not paid associates, they're volunteers from the congregation. So I wanted to be sure that they were at least still hearing what was happening in the house. If for any other reason that, audio cues that are given via audio, so let's say we're going to, we'll go to a scripture, or we're going to change, or okay, we're done with this and now we're going to the next segment. Those audio cues are being heard from the stage as well as whatever's being said on the microphone. Now, the problem that you're going to run into with that is when you're going to be competing, right? So my microphone is going to be competing with the program. And so the Symmetrix Radius offers something called ducking, which is a audio term, basically meaning when this audio source turns on, the other audio source goes down, and you just select which one you want to be the primary and which one you want to duck, and then you output that to your headset monitors. So it sounds complicated, but honestly, the workflow is pretty straightforward, and it's very intuitive, because what's going to happen... Whoa. Right, I'm tethered. Hang on 1 second. Oh, with an extension cord. All right, so what's going to happen is we're going to really like this system. And I always give this premise that don't plan your system, don't design a system for what you need today. Think about, what if I really fall in love with this system and I want to be able to do more with it? Well, that was the premise that we took for the Symmetrix Radius system for the Dante stuff, because I knew we were going to fall in love with it and we were going to have more volunteers and all that stuff was going to happen. And so you're going to end up wanting to expand. Here's a brand new unit that was just shipped to me. And this, I need 2 units. I hope he sent me 2. I should text my guy. But here's a brand new unit for a Dante belt pack. That's what this is. This product is made by Studio Technologies Incorporated, studio-tech.com. I don't get paid by them. I wish I did. because I've done a lot of promotion. But basically, this little body pack can clip on your belt. You can plug in a TRRS headset to it and plug in a Dante, something plugged into your Dante VLAN, and you're up and running. You can then route this as a source and as a receiver, and you can use this as anywhere on your Dante network. Part of the reason why we tailor our networks to doing certain protocols is because now I can light up a port on a switch and say I want this to be on the Dante VLAN, and then when I plug this device into it, it just automatically acquires an IP address, and I'm off to the races. I can see it inside of Dante controller. So this is a brand new pack, and it's pretty stinking cool. And the reason why I designed it the way that I did with Doug's design is because I can easily expand it. I can order more packs, I can order more headphones and plug them in, and I can then group all of the receiving end of things into a multicast group, and it doesn't chew up all the bandwidth. It's all the same. So this body pack is probably going to be for somebody that's moderating our chat, and she does kind of both, and if she needs to communicate with me, she can just jump on the headset and talk to me. I have 2 headsets downstairs, but I only have 1 of these body packs, so it's good stuff. All right, let me here. So are the ST belt packs compatible with the Doug Johnson style comm setup? Yes. Actually, those are the ones that he recommends in the video, and so I looked them up, and what's cool about Studio Tech is that that's like the base model. They have other ones, though. They specialize in sports broadcasting, and so they have like the Bob Barker microphone that's on the little stand you just push to talk. They have some really cool things. They have belt packs that are like multi-channel, like a whole bunch. This belt pack, if you've ever seen a football game, an American or Canadian style football game, not soccer, and when the dudes are on the refs are on the field and they press the button and they talk and then they let go, it's essentially the same design other than you plug it into a Dante line, so you are tethered. But they are really handy when it comes to, that's the way that I operate on Sundays. I put it on my left hip, and then when I'm talking to guys, I click the button, my headphone microphone is mounted, and I just click it and talk, and then I let it go and I'm off. And then I have the ducking inside the radius set up in a way that it ramps back up after 2 seconds, and so it quickly cuts the audio and brings it way down. You can still hear what's happening on microphones on the stage. We have program coming out of our X32, which is not Dante. It's actually plugged in with an AVIO unit. Too many acronyms. An AVIO Dante unit, and we're probably going to be updating that to be a Dante card, which is only like $500, which sounds... It's crazy when I say it's only $500, but that will give me 32 channels to bring into my Dante system. I can mix anything I want at that point. And we're probably looking at a Dante Tascam multi-track recorder, which will do 64 channels or something like that, or maybe 32. I can't remember. But I want to multi-track because I want to multi-track the raw Dante signals, because I want to master the music that we do after the fact. And so if we screw something up audio-wise, I can record all channels out and then remaster videos. And I already record all video channels, so now I want to record all audio channels and have that available as well. So Tascam makes like a $3,000 unit, $4,000 unit that is multi-tracked. It's the least headache amount of work, but it multi-tracks, you just put in Dante channels, and we only have ever like 8 or 10 channels at any given time, so it'll easily handle what we want it to do. So we're likely going to do that this year. I don't know if Tascam shows up at NAB. Let's find out. Let's go over to the board. NAB convention. And I just want to see, I'm sure they don't know yet who's going to be at the show, but yoink, we're going to check this out and see what we can come up with. I'll bring you over to that screen. How can you apply? Contact sales, learn more, exhibit, meetings, sponsorships, NAB show, video, education, show floor. Choose your pass, view your show floor. All right, so I know that this is, it's April 19th to 22nd this year. There you go. And I just want to search Tascam. All right, so there's nobody at the show named Tascam. Am I spelling that right? Who knows? Is Tascam 2 words? No. All right, so cool, but maybe nobody's registered, because this says, is this the 2026 show floor? Yeah. Can we just look and see like who's here already? Who's already got a space? Oh man, Black Magic, of course. So they're in the same spot, or is this last year's map? This might be last year's map because this is where they were. We came to this hall the second day, and this is where I believe, Bird Dog was over here somewhere. So that will tell us if Elgato. That will tell us if this is the same layout. I guess not, because they were here behind. They were with like vMix and stuff. VizRT, so they may be over here. vMix is here. Bird Dog. So maybe it is similar, but this is flipped from last year because we didn't walk this way. We walked this way, and they were over here. Bird Dog was like here, and vMix was out here. Anyway, that's fun. All right. So anyway, and this is likely to change between now and then. Man, I'm excited to go. I love this conference. It's fun. It's more fun to go when you are not working. It's fun to go and see stuff. It's cool. What about who's the dude? Is Ugreen in this? Ugreen should be here somewhere. We purchased something from Ugreen this year. Actually, not really based on their show. Oh, vMix is here. Where's the pit? Is X Keys? X Keys is around here somewhere. I'm not concerned about X Keys, but I'm hoping that they're innovating. I hope that they're doing something because, all right, I guess I'll just look it up. I hope they're doing something because they had some cool stuff last year, but there it is. Boom. North Hall. AccuWeather. Oh, that's strange. They had some cool stuff, but it was pretty hard to compete with what Elgato was doing. And so I hope that they're able to, I'm anxious to see what they've been up to this year. I know that ISE is about to start, and so that's going to be kind of the next set of announcements, I think, that people are planning. That's coming up, end of the month? ISE 2026. ISE 2026. I'm February 3rd through 6th. So yeah, that's only 3 weekends away, and then that'll be happening. And I've seen and heard that there are announcements coming from Netgear, and I believe they already launched some of their announcements, which was Ethercon style switches for the 4350 line. And what else? There was something else that they just launched. Anyways, pretty excited about that. So I'm anxious to see. I got on this tangent because of the Tascam Dante recorder. So I'm planning on expanding our Dante system with that and with a card inside the X32. And then we can move the AVIO unit to something else. I'm sure I'll think of something. And so we will have lots of options going forward with our Dante system. Now, one of the things that we're doing to expand is we have purchased another Netgear switch. This is the 4250 10G2F PoE Plus switch, which is just their standard 10-port switch, 8 PoE, 2 non-PoE, and then 2 fiber. And that switch is now going to run inside of the zone where our ProPresenter people are, because I've got 4 Dante users over there, and I've got 2 data ports over there. And so I think for some reason I was already maxed out. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 on comms, and then I've got 2 computers. What else is there over there? There's 2 more somethings. The computers can obviously run. I need to connect data, and I was going to trunk them. So I'm not utilizing the fiber ports on this one. So it'll be 2 trunked Ethernet cords that will go into this, and then out of that will be a 1 computer, 2 computers, and 4 Dante headsets. And then that switch will be maxed out. So I tried to talk my guy into getting a bigger switch, but in that specific spot, I don't really know what else we would do over there. It's kind of unfortunate that we're already limited with the expansion of this, but that will help us get rid of some cable bulk that's happening that goes across the room over there. And it will, I think, help speed things up a fair bit. So I will be doing a trunk to this guy because I want all VLANs, all ports to go across there. So it'll be good. It's a good step in the right direction. It spreads out the workload to another switch, which is I'm happy about. Fine with that. But he had it shipped to me, and I need to probably go over to the soundstage sometime next week and get all this stuff installed and ready to go. Here's a interesting fact that only probably I care about, but we actually have a couple of weeks off, and the reason being is the guy that bought all this stuff for me, he's basically CFO. He is going away with his family to Hawaii for a week on a cruise, and so they're headed over to the Big Island today through LAX. So Godspeed, and then they're headed to Hawaii from there. So he's going to be gone and won't be back until next Saturday, I think in the evening, maybe at nighttime. Like he's catching one of the, when you leave from LAX, it's either first thing in the morning or late at night, and then he's crossing the states, and so he's losing 4 hours or 3 hours or something like that. So it'll be a fast night for him. So we decided this Sunday we're going to pre-record, and next Sunday we pre-record it. So I worked like a dog and got 2 weeks worth of stuff done, including all the newsletters, including all of the automation that needs to happen. So we are good to go. But outside of all of that happening, we definitely, what is going on here? I see. So outside of all that craziness that's going on, now I kind of have a couple of weeks where I'm kind of free. So I'm planning on actually working on the barn, which is the other part of this show today is I'll tell you what I've made some baby steps in getting some things done, but I got a little bit of time. So next week I'm going to go over to the soundstage and get this switch installed and get the Dante packs installed and get it all routed and saved and updated and blah blah blah. So there's lots to do there, but it's all kind of arriving at my house this week. Okay, so if I've got two M4250 switches and each has a VLAN for NDI and another for Dante, will I get adequate performance bridging the two over a single 1 gigabit Ethernet line? Okay, so this is a good question. And it's very tangible to pretty much every install that we do. It really depends on throughput, and it depends on what it is that you're bringing over. If we're talking NDI current gen, where it's all, NDI. Oh shoot! Wow, I'm getting rusty. The latest and greatest, which is the third generation of it, NDI. What are they at, like 7 or something like that? Anyways, it depends on how much data you're bringing over. And what I would really recommend here is depending on how much, if you're not going to touch a gig, keep it under 60% performance, meaning that if you're running over a gig Ethernet port, really keep it 500 to 600 megs at any given time. NDI and Dante, a great general rule, obviously you know this, Angus, but for everybody else in the comment section, all two of you, the general rule is run it at 60%. And NDI is either on or off, meaning that if you make a connection to an NDI source, it's on. It's like a faucet. You've turned the knob and it's on. If you disconnect it, then it's off, but the data is constant. 4250 line is specifically engineered to handle the constant throughput, whereas your at-home routers, your unmanaged crap for sure, but even Linksys and TP-Link and all that, they're gauging on you like peak performance, meaning that the data can ramp up and go really fast, but then on average it's going to be none or little. NDI and Dante are a constant throughput, and so it's going to constantly be ramping up, and if your switches are not aware that that's how this needs to be processed and they don't have the proper horsepower, they're going to overheat at very least and probably give you poor performance, which is why I recommend going with a 4250 or 4350 for your network installs. So in this instance, then, if you have NDI traffic, if you have Dante traffic, and you're coming across on an Ethernet port, again, let's throw that question up there. So if I've got two 4250 switches and each have VLANs for NDI and Dante, will I get adequate performance bridging the two over a single 1 gig Ethernet line? I would, between those switches, obviously go in and tell the ports that you're using. You can either, on 4250, you can use something called auto trunking. But I would go in and force the ports that you're using to operate in at least one of them in trunk mode. And what this does then is it provides you with a pipe where trunks do not look at VLAN data. They don't look at the packets at a VLAN level. They just kind of include everything. And so that data is available even if you don't have that. Say you've got 4 switches, but 2 of them have the NDI and one of those and another one has Dante. That data will be available if for some reason you light up on the 4th switch. If you light up a Dante port, that data is available inside the trunks at all times. So the trunks will facilitate passing that data, whereas a simple bridge connection, if you will, if you plug it in on the data line, your switches are going to have to probably do some gymnastics to get all of that and like a lot of updating and whatever. So when I connect my switches, I usually go in manually and on the main switch and tell the main switch which ports are trunks, because then that essentially gives you just a pipe that carries all the data. What's nice about that is, and in your instance, let's say I have 250 megabits per second of NDI traffic and a dozen or so other channels of Dante. Yeah, so you're not going to be pushing that threshold. So you're probably safe with one connection. Personally, if I were to just say it, if I were to look at that, I would always do a redundant line. You can trunk those lines together, which gives you 2 gigs. But the point at this stage is not to give you the threshold of 1,200 megs or 2 gigs worth of trunk data. The point is redundancy. And from a networking stance, I'm always looking at, I never want to be near my threshold, and I always want to have a backup idea. And so I would always bring 2 lines over that would go to all of my switches from my main. Again, that chews up a lot of ports on your main switch that you're using. The way that I have mine laid out, I probably have a diagram here somewhere. I didn't realize I was going to be talking about this so much. Assuming that nothing is close to saturation, of course. Okay, so that's a great way to do that. Yeah, redundancy is a good thing for sure. Agreed. And when you're in the production space, like when I'm in the data realm, all right, when I'm here at home, I'm not honestly thinking too much about redundancy. I have definite spots of failure along the route. Those Mocha units that I have that run over coax, bring my network upstairs, those are not redundantly set. Now, I'm thinking about redundancy for the barn build, but when I was just trying to get wired data up here, I was not thinking, and now I need a backup. I was just trying to get it done. So in the data realm, even inside of the conversation with business, I'm not necessarily, well, there's a military helicopter going over the house. I was not necessarily thinking about redundancy as much as I think about it here, because we really need to have a backup if one of our ports fails. Holy smokes, he is shaking this house. That is one of those double-bladed. He's getting closer. Wow. Could you hear that? It's showing inside vMix. All right, he's gone now. So I wasn't necessarily thinking about that, but in the production realm, I'm always defaulting to what's your backup connection. And there are lots of ways to build your network that way. A matter of fact, I wonder if I could show you. Let me jump over to something real quick. So I did my certification, right, for let me see, is it in here? It should be in here. Netgear certification, diagrams. Yeah. Okay, so here, at the end of the course for your Dante certification, they ask you to design a network, and they just give you a paragraph of here's what's required, and then you need to be conscious of your I forget what they said, conscious of cost and yada yada yada. So I did a diagram, and I want to kind of zoom in here a little bit because here we go. I just want to show you. You can go onto the Netgear site also and pull for this. You can pull all of the stuff. I guess I probably shouldn't show this to you because this is basically the answer to the question. But on that diagram, I specifically spec'd out a redundant SFP plus, or actually in this case it was an SFP 28 fiber connection, and it's just because of the switches that I picked, but I was able to hit a threshold that they were wanting, and it's a redundant trunk, and so there wasn't going to be, all right, I'm going to show you this just briefly. I won't show you all the answers, but this is the redundancy thing that I did for, this is the switch that I selected as 4340 CV, which gives you the ability to do SFP 28. There's never going to be any question in today's configuration as to whether or not that's going to be able to handle the NDI requirements, but it also provides PoE power and adequate port and all that. But in this instance, I was thinking, all right, I definitely want redundancy just because if one pathway fails, I want the other pathway to take over, and you'll notice that I've trunked all 3 switches together, and so there is redundancy all the way around. That did not require us to have internet access for this, diagram, and so that's why there is no access to the cloud. But the redundancy is that if for some reason this connection gets cut, both of those cables get cut for some reason, there would be a secondary way to get to that switch. And so if there's nothing wrong with the switch, but there's something wrong with the physical connection, the beautiful thing about trunks is it doesn't really matter. I mean, it matters a whole lot, but if you have, it's not like Ethernet where, and you know this, Angus, I'm saying this for other people's benefit. It gives you the option to go from switch A, B to C, but also then from A to C to B, and you're not going to get a loop effect issue. The switches are smart enough to know we're not going to have a looping issue here, unlike if you were to just plug in switches port 1 to port 1, port 2 to port 1 on the other in room 3. You can easily get into a looping situation. The 4250, 4350 line are really good with knowing that you have connected, and now this needs to be auto-trunked or auto-lagged, depending on your configuration. The switches will actually do that for you for the most part. I do recommend you using the Engage software because it does bring everything into one spot. And I recommend if you're going to get into a little more complicated routing or VLAN design or whatever, you really get into using their router. So there's a 460X router that is made for the Engage software and is kind of a part of the 42, 4350 overall product line. And that can be super helpful when you kind of get into when you get into designing networks. It's a really handy tool to have, and it brings it all kind of in the same ecosystem and allows you to use everything all at once. So those are all really great products, and the expansion of my Dante system is now, I knew this was going to happen. I knew that I was going to be like, all right, now we need to do something else with this Dante system because all the data is available. Now we just need to continue to bring, continue to innovate and make it better. I think when we get into the multicast world, rephrase this. I think when we get into the multi-tracking world, that will push us into a legit recording studio space because you need to be able to record all your cameras. You need some higher quality cameras. I think we've qualified there. Now you need to be able to record all your channels, and the X32 is able to do that in some ways, kind of rudimentarily, but I don't really want to rely on I want the X32 to do the live audio and the stream audio. That's its job. I want something else dedicated to recording the audio, and I want to be able to turn it off and back on again. I want to be able to work on the API. That is a good question. The Tascam multi-track Dante recorder. What's it called? Let's look it up here real quick. So this is the DA6400DP recorder, temporarily out of stock. Let's see if we can pull up a photo. There we go. Dante has it on their website. Yeah. So here it is. Yoink. This is that multi-track recorder. It runs about 4,000, maybe 4,300, and it takes a hard drive. So you can just get an SSD, pop that in there. It will do, here's the specs, 64 tracks at 48, 24-bit, 48 hertz, or 32 tracks at 24-bit, 96 hertz. So depending on what you need. It also then includes SMPTE timecode, word clock, RS-422 parallel and Ethernet connections. And I want to see if there is an API. Oh dear, that's not cool. So we're going to need to order this sooner than later because it looks like maybe they're discontinuing it. Digital multi-channel recorder for live and broadcast apps. This would be like an amazing product to have if you were doing digital sound checks. And so you have your team record a flat mix in on this on each channel. You just record them playing a song, and then you could then take that into your rig during your own sound check as an engineer, hit go on each of these, run them through the channels of the board, and then set up the room. So that would be a good way to do that. And, there are lots of, let me change this over real quick. There would be lots of good ways to do that. Good ways to do that with this little recorder. And then you could bring all the channels out Dante and back in Dante, and it would make it pretty seamless. So again, I know that the X32 in my instance has the ability to record some stuff on an SD card, which would be fine for a digital sound check. But if you're also recording then your shows, or recording an album or something like that, the Tascam multi-recorder would be a great way to do that. So there you go.
That's pretty neat.
I agree. That is pretty neat. All right. So those are the updates coming to the Dante system that's at my soundstage. Sorry about that. I just realized that I'm sharing the chat here. Out of curiosity, why not use a PC with Dante Virtual Sound Card and a good DAW to do your multi-tracking? Okay, so part of the reason is because I may not be the guy doing it all the time. What I want is to be able to record this, to put this on my Companion X Keys unit and hit record. And then the next step will be to automate that. Because what I would really like to do is one day, perhaps I'm not going to be there or I'm on vacation, but service still goes off. I want them to be able to record out all the channels, and then when I get back, I want to be able to pull that information digitally and bring that over. And to do the computer PC with virtual sound card, DAW, do multi-track recording, all that stuff is more than just setting it up beforehand and pressing record. So this is a volunteer space, and I do need to make it to where they don't need to necessarily have me hold their hand every single time I want to record something. I also say that because I would love to be able to send the sound guy over there and say, just be sure you hit record, and then have our band or our minister or whoever play something and him be able to multi-track that out, sing, play, whatever, have him multi-track that out, and then I can just pull it from home in my remote location. Because I'm not planning on going anywhere, but I do my work from this office most of the time. I don't do my work from the why is this not working? Oh, there it is. So I don't normally do my work from the soundstage, the office, the studio. We just record there, and then I bring everything over here. So that would work for that element, record it on the hard drive on the computer. But honestly, I like a piece of hardware that I can just pre-record and hit the record button, and it records the channels I want. That's mostly why I do that. Ease of use, training volunteers. Hey, to record, hit this button that says record. Like how hard could that be? The goal that I want is to set it up so that I can train people to do it, and I can give them a checklist and they can do it, My coffee's starting to cool down. Interesting question here is, why isn't my RTA working on my... there it is. All right. Just need to turn it back on and off again. So I like that in the background. I think I saw somebody do that on office hours, and they had a meter behind them, and I've ever since wanted to have that. So there it is. That's the one. Hey, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, good. Because sometimes I don't know if my brain makes sense. So glad to know that at least somebody thinks, yeah, okay, I guess that's makes sense, John. Whoops. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think we're in the position where we're like hiring a bunch of people to do production. I think it's me and the other guy that's going to go to Hawaii this week. So I want to make it where we can still get high results and not need to necessarily be there the whole time. So that is the plan. And yeah, push a button. Now, I did ask somebody that works for Dante about this Tascam unit, and he said the only downfall is it's really slow. Like to pull the files and whatever is slow, but it does show up as an FTP server on the network, which means that I can just remote into the computer over there, dump the files that I want into Dropbox, they sync up and over, and I'm done. That is my workflow on Sundays. Here, check this out. This is so cool now. We record onto a Blackmagic ISO Extreme, bring in our 8 camera signals via SDI, and then we save those to a hard drive. when service is done, that recording button, by the way, automatically turns on, and it just dawned on me that I need to turn those automations off for the next 2 weeks. So those things happen automatically, and I love it. I think it's great because I don't really have to remember. I do set an alarm to check to make sure that the recorder is running, but I don't actually have to press the record button anymore every single week. I just have to set up the automations one time, and then they work. So they are currently working, and it's really nice. Now here, I could actually share this with you to show you kind of what's going on. All right. So this is the computer over that runs my X keys. You can see my 46 that's set up here. I'm sorry, 64. Yikes, I'm getting And under triggers, this is an automated piece that actually triggers our pentagraph, which is pants down, that you see here. And then lower thirds, service start. This is also a timer that we use. But evidently, I don't have the automation here. I have it on a different machine. Okay, so let me jump over there. It's going to be on this Mac Studio. And we're going to remote in. And we're going to remote in. Whoops. Okay, here we go. So Pro Presenter, we're going to launch the buttons interface, and this is the automation that I wanted to see. So automate the record button, click off. Lights automation, click off. Lower thirds, clear lower thirds, I'm going to leave that on. Pre-show dim lights. Oh dear, am I not actually making changes here? I guess I'll have to use the password because I'm not present. Oh my goodness. Fat fingering this big time. All right, workflow. Off, pre-show dim lights. This executes, yep, on a schedule, so turn that off. And this one also executes on a schedule, so I'll turn that one off. This is just a button that we press, so I don't need to turn that one off. And then what you do now, okay, so these are the workflow automations that happen. And this is, yeah, go ahead and save. This is the coolest one that I love, is every Sunday at 9:23 a.m., turn on the record button. It's so handy, and I've used it twice now, and it works perfectly. Also, I automate the pre-show lights, so there's a lighting automation that happens here. Go ahead and save. Here with the pre-show lights, every Sunday at 9:15, turn the lights down to 30% on the stage, which is amazing because sometimes I forget, and then we go into that pre-show countdown thing, and the lights are on full, and it looks a little blown out. So this little automation is great. Just need to remember to turn it off and on again when we are not going to be there. So I did that. These automations are off right now, so I don't have to worry anything about that. So we are going to lock that screen, and then I'll show you the behind the scenes. Apparently, all right. Install. Hey, what's going on, Steve Mann? What's going on? Hey, install a whole room full of old school tech that requires a large crew to operate. That's my plan. Please don't. Please don't do that. Hey, pants down. Yes, that is the automation, and that is the call on Sunday mornings. And I had to explain it to a couple of our volunteers that were overseas for 3 months. They came back, and I was like, all right, it's 9:27, pants down. And they're like, and I said, okay, so there's an automation called pants down, and it brings the pentagraph down for cam 3. And they're like, oh, okay, we were a little concerned. Thankfully, they're really cool about it. So, did your comment get moderated? Pants down. It's still here, so it's all good. But that's funny if it did. Thanks, Nightbot. Doesn't like all caps, evidently. All right, so that is the plan with the Dante system for 2026. We're expanding to at least 2 more headsets, and I need to ask my guy if he actually got me the other one. Thankfully, my Mac is right here. And where is he? Did you order 1 or 2 new belt packs? Okay. Um, that one's done. And I should set a reminder while I'm here. Remind me here to turn on automation at Osh. I want this to be on a custom time. We're going to be gone here, so I'll do this next Monday at... next Monday it is, because it just disappeared off the screen. What will next Monday be? Reload. All right, whatevs. It should be at the top. There it is, 26th. So at certain time, let's say 9 a.m. Be back in action at that point. Okay, reminder set. Boy, I live and die by my reminders. It's like how I live my life, because then they show up on my watch and everything. So British pants mean something completely different. Agreed. Not those pants. Not those pants. It's kind of like an inside. It's kind of an inside joke, at least for me and my sound guy, and here on the show, because Pants Down was where I think this is where I invented it. Are you excited for Nam next week, like Vietnam? I actually don't see much about that, to be honest with you, in my circles. I'm seeing a lot of ISE stuff. That's February 3rd through 6th, which we've already discovered. But I'm not really seeing much about... Let me look it up. This show... Rumors. Probably because I'm not really... Wait, Anaheim? Is that where it is? I'm all about it. We're covering everything for 2026. Why are they all at the beginning of the year? It's kind of like NAB. It's like they build up to NAB, which is NA Pro, right? So, Pro Audio and Musical Instruments. Well, I'm interested in the Pro Audio side. I'm not very good on musical instruments, so there's some cool stuff on here. What's this? The Boss GX1. What's this thing? Korg has something new. Fender Studio Pro 8. Ooh, Roland. The foreground of Beats was showcasing its recent TR-1000 rhythm creator. Behringer has a new... Behringer's company are clearly keen to push the envelope when it comes to stealing the spotlight. Last year, Behringer captivated us with a 16-voice Prophet 5 inspired Pro 16, which is now seems to have been strangely discontinued. Wait, what? The LM drum and the Yamaha DX1 inspired BX1. So we can expect displays of similar allure of this year for show. The question is, when, if ever, will whatever instruments Behringer brings this year become available for purchase? Is Behringer canceling synths that have already been announced? These look very like old school. They look like they belong in a studio and not on a stage. It's interesting. All right, so I can't say that Nam is something that I'm particularly interested in, but if you are, cool, and I'd be down to talk about it. It's like NAB, but for musicians. Okay, well that's probably why, because I'm a pretty bad excuse for a musician. I do have a bass guitar that sits right here next to me that has a big Canadian leaf on it, but other than that, I don't do a whole lot with instruments. I do more recording and audio stuff. I do sing, actually. There's little known fact about me. Fingers Crossed Shure announces WMAS microphones, and Yamaha announces the DM5. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. A DM5 with AMM would be nice. Let's have a little look. Yamaha has not yet released the DM5 digital mixer. There's no official release. Ooh. All right, let's have a little peek. What's going on here? There's a DM3. There's a DM7. Last year we walked past, at NAB, we walked past, I think, Yamaha's booth. Was it Yamaha? I don't know, but they had all these soundboards out. Their DM3 is their current small flagship mixer. I feel like it was we were looking at the DM3 last year. Let me see. Yeah. This is it. That is a small mixer. What do they want for this? $2,200? How do you sleep at night? Do I have that sound effect? I used to. Oh no, but I got this one.
Sir.
Oh, whoops. Oh no. That automation didn't work. Let's fix it. Because it's a funny one.
Good news, everyone!
Bit focus. Launch. It just needs more time. Audio. This one, actions. Wait, why? Is it gonna work?
Sir, I protest. I am not a merry man.
You're welcome. Oh man, good stuff. All right, back to the chat here. Yamaha is testing 3 new Pro audio devices, but nothing. Sorry, let me pull this out of here. Okay, Yamaha is testing 3 new audio devices, but nothing about what they are. The DM3 is their current small flagship mixer. Jono, based on Yamaha's naming conventions, there should be a DM5 based on the existing DM3 and DM7. Well, I belong to an employer previously where you would think that that's the logical conclusion, but not so much. Not so much. Oh man, so much louder than your voice. Oh, my bad. I can change that too. I can, can't I? I forget where to do that. All right, I won't set that one off until I fix the audio. It wasn't too bad in my ear, but I'm listening to a different mix, so probably blew your headset off. Sorry about that. Especially due to the price gap between $2,000 and $25,000. Yes, I agree with you. It was a good episode. Well worth the watch. Always fun when Q shows up. Always fun. That's pretty neat was also loud. Oh, okay. Well, then maybe I just need to adjust my computer. No. Where's the sound effect here? It's coming across on audio cables. Oh, this would be why, because it's like cranked up to 1,000. Try this one.
How do you sleep at night?
That was probably a little. That was probably a little too low, right? Come on.
How do you sleep at night?
Okay, that's about halfway. Is that too loud? I will set the audio. All right. So, last but not least, I was going to just give you a brief little update on the barn situation. Because, as you may or may not know, yes, split the difference, he says. All right. I'm gonna take it down by about. Yes, there we go. Okay, cool. So that was the correct, which is about -7 decibels. So
Everything's coming up, Millhouse.
excellent. Thank you. See, this is why it's helpful to have a live audience. All right, so I made a error when I was working on the electrical inside the garage, putting a few outlets upstairs in that like attic space because I'm going to create a really like small, lightweight like play area for my kids, and they're pretty pumped about that. So, but I made an error, I made a bad error, and that was I cut a few holes in the support beams of the trusses, and you're not supposed to do that. However, there is a way to fix it, which is you can basically put on 2x4s on the side where you've damaged. This also applies for damaged rafters, but you can reinforce them with additional like pillars. And then, where is it here? Is it here? Oh no, that's not it. Did I not take a picture of that? Oh crap. All right, give me a second and I will send this to myself. Anyways, you're not supposed to alter those at all, and you can just run the cables across the rafters because it's an attic space, so no big deal. So I had to go and get some 2x4s and fix things because I'm an idiot, and that gave me a chance to kind of really reinforce things, really heavy duty. Let me just throw this in Google Drive, upload, and then I did the electrical, well, part of it. I'll finish it up hopefully today and tomorrow, but I reran some of the electrical that I'm going to have up there. And I'm going to have 2 circuits. The first one is 6 outlet boxes that are in where my kids will have their like play space. And then the second circuit is going to be over on the backside of the attic space. And I'm going to have some of my stuff up there. Tempted to make I've never had a place. I've never lived in a house. This is a hobby I don't think I've ever talked about. I used to, when I was younger, I had an HO train set. And I haven't had an HO train set in, 20 years. And the technology has moved. It's so nerdy. The technology has moved a long way away from where I was when I was a kid. And I really want to get back into it. But I don't have an income to do that right now because I'm building a barn. But that section of the barn, which I sat up there yesterday and just kind of like took it in, is actually big enough to do like a wraparound train set. And so I think I'm going to do it. I think that's going to be like a hobby that I take on. And that would be a lot of fun for me and keep me out of trouble. So that is what I want to do. And I'm putting electricity over there on a separate circuit. It's not a big deal. It's just mostly running wire. I'm very familiar with, working in electrical panels and that sort of thing. That's no problem at all. So I'm pretty excited to get all of that kind of up and running. So looking forward to having that space. I really want to get my kids set up in a space up there because it'd be good to get some toys and them having a dedicated play area. That's not this bonus room because it is full of stuff all the time. Most recent playback is good. Excellent. Thank you, sir. Hey, model trains are pretty sweet. See, they're electronics, right? But the whole invention of DCC, which basically in the past, back in the day, you'd have a transformer that would increase or decrease power on your track, and then the train would go faster or slower. Now there's technology called DCC, which is the ability to you power the track full time, and you send a radio frequency to a resistor that basically says you need 30% power, and the resistor then turns up to 30%. But you can also then trigger sound effects, and you can, make it do certain things. It's just come a long way. And so I want to get into this. I want to get into having a DCC track that allows me to, you have to buy different locomotives or hotwire yours. And so that'll be a fun little project. It'll be something to get old doing. So that'll be fun. I really liked, I've been really into RC trail trucks lately, on the subject of expensive hobbies. Real engineers drive trains, confirmed. Like train engineers or engineers who, anyway, whatever. So yeah, in my spare time, that will be something that I will do. And I'm really looking forward to it because, it's going to be a fun little project. All right, I can share my screen now. This is a quick little video that I took just to show my dad kind of what it is that I've been up to. But, so this is that attic space, and it's super hard to see because why is the audio on? I told the audio to turn off. Quality, let's do 1080. All right, so these are those support beams, and what you do is you bolt those on. You may have noticed that there's a framing gun here. Air compressor tools are the jam, and so boom, pop those up there. It wasn't too hard, other than swinging a mallet hammer is a little tricky. And the reason why I had to do that is because I wanted to put these additional braces, these rafter braces on here to kind of help them from not torquing. Yes, torquing is the right word. Over time. So you don't want them to twist or anything like that. So you apply these braces and then you put them on here with 3-inch nails and they stay just fine. So then I ran the electrical. These plugs are not done, but you can see the boxes are there underneath. This was at nighttime, so I was had a headlamp on, which kind of jacks with the white balance up there. But these are those boards that I reapplied, and then you see the wire that runs around back, and I've got them wire stapled. And then, so I did this on both sides. I don't know if I show the other side or not. Yeah, I spin around here. So I did this on both sides. These boxes are not lit up. They're not powered. However, this is that space where my kids are going to be, and this box here is wired and lit up, along with that box in the distance. That's the one where the power comes up from the panel, which is down here, comes up from the panel through the header board, across this board, and then into here. And then there's another wire that runs underneath and goes to the other side, which I show in a second. What I really like about this, though, is there are four plugs here on this spot. But this one has a USB C and A because my kids are inevitably going to have toys that need to be powered. And so that will be a convenient little brick in the wall. And then this box is lit up. I ran that underneath and it comes up here. But obviously there's nothing in that one. Or there's another box that's even beyond that. Boom, right there. That don't have anything in it. So that's basically what I have to do left. About 2/3 is still left to do in terms of the electrical in this space. But these boxes are like I have a Google Home device over there that I was using to play music because I was just playing it off my phone while I was working, and it sounded like crap. And so I was like, you know what? I think my internet will work out here. And I took that out there, and sure enough, especially once I turned on the power, they came right on, and it's high enough in the house where the signal gets thrown. This eventually will also have a few network ports in both of these spots, just in case I need to run something network-wise up here. So there will be a couple of network ports probably on this, what would be west side of the building, on the left side here. So that'll be fun and get that stuff going. So getting those circuits run and ready to go, that's been a lot of fun, and I love it. If this turns into a model train channel, I'm absolutely good with that. Hey, if people are on, there might be a segment. Sure, maybe. It would be cool to have, because this studio is going to be out there one day, right? Just not in the attic space. So it'll be downstairs. So if that's the case, then I could get an NDI camera, my phone, and take you guys up there, or set up NDI cameras up there and run the trains while the show's. Oh, we're doing it. We're doing it. Done and done. That's happened. And then I'm going to get a whole panel of train sound effects, and we're going to play those on the show too. So let's go. I'm all about it. All about it.
How neat is that?
Now I need to find some cheap NDI cameras. Where can I find cheap NDI cameras, everybody? They don't need to be great quality. Even if they're 720, I'm down. But I need some cheap NDI cameras so I can show progress and the builds and the trains and all that. Maybe like put them all around the set. Let's do it, guys. Let's do it. It'll be a blast. Anyway, so we've made some progress. You know, have some. This is a shot of those ports that are done, and they just come up here. There's that home device that I have. Let me tell you something about doing this project. I have really enjoyed having a heavy-duty air compressor, because not only do I have a framing gun that's air compressed, but that runs on an air compressor, but this is a nailer, an air compressed nailer. It's like $25-$30 on Amazon, made by Bosch, and it is the answer, because you don't have to swing a hammer ever again. It's so awesome. For most size nails it works, and these boxes that are here, this guy right here in particular, there's a couple of nails that go into the frame, right? Well, I just put it on there, and it's like brrr, it takes like 2 seconds. No strain, no swinging hammers, no sore in the morning, none of that crap. It's just it's really quick and works really well. You know these little wire, like clip or not, they're wire staples. These little guys, you know how annoying they are to hold and like tap with a hammer and you smash your fingers all the time? Not no more. We use this little air compressor nailer, and it just pops it a couple of times. Then you take your hands away, and boom, boom, done. I've wired this entire garage with that thing. I use the nailer on the framing nailer to do the 2x4s, to do the reinforced on the beams, and that worked really fast too. Matter of fact, it only misfired once and left a nail sticking out, and I just hit it with a hammer once, and that was enough. But this little project has been a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to get out there and to keep going. Unfortunately, today is like the coldest day of the whole year so far, with a high of 34, and this morning, I don't know, it was like 22 degrees or something like that. If I pull up everyone's favorite German weather app, Wunderground.com, also known as W Underground, weatherunderground.com, but it's 31 degrees outside right. No, it's 20. Feels like it's 29 degrees outside. Feels like 21. All right. And for those of you not in the States, it is -2 degrees and feels like -6. All right. So for you Celsius guys, to my Canadian brothers and sisters, if there's somebody watching here from Canada that's female, -2 feels like -6. So I'm not too sure if I'm going to go out there, because later in the week it's supposed to like be a lot nicer. Tomorrow it's going to rain, but later in the week it's going to be like 10. Tomorrow it's going to be 10, but rain. So whatevs, we can deal with that. If I go to the 10-day, Friday almost 50 degrees, Saturday 37 again. Oh man, crap! It's going to be cool for the next several days. So I got to go out there and do that. It's sunny today, which is nice. So I'll just keep the garage door shut, and I do have a 30 amp dual pole 30 amp heater, which I might fire up, get that started. So, you know, I've made amends. I've figured out how to do stuff. And a Mevo Start, it's crap and it'll do the job. Good to know. You should dedicated Mevo camera on the train car. How much are cameras that can fit on the front of the train? It's a good question. Actually, a used iPhone with the Road Capture app may be a good option as well. Palm nailer. Nice. Hey, it's warmer here. It's +3. Wow. That's crazy that it's colder in Tennessee than it is in Edmonton. Come on, man. Definitely, though. Oh, sorry. I was just in Montreal, and Angus will probably confirm that's shorts weather. It is windy here, but it's definitely shorts weather. Yeah. Yikes. Yeah, +3. I'm down. +3 would be nice. It's -1 right now, so get out of here. I like my warm house. Here's the thing about Tennessee with negative degree weather is they don't know how to insulate a house for cold weather. They know how to insulate a house for air conditioning, for hot weather. But when it gets cold, the house gets cold. Like my furnace apparently just does not understand. Maybe I need to get more temperature sensors around the house so that it takes a more like even reading, because it thinks it's 74 degrees downstairs and it is not. It is chilly. It's got to be 30 or 65. But apparently by the thermostat, it's 74. So who knows? Ooh, one little project that I did. I don't think I have any pictures of this. A little project I did though is I installed a plug. So my wife bought it's like a filing cabinet, but it's a nice one for the living room. And I installed one of those USB plugs right above it. And so now we can like charge devices, and she got like a record player for Christmas. And so she's able to plug that in and keep it on full time. It's really nice, but there wasn't an outlet over there. So I made one, which was easy peasy, not difficult. Again, I'm pretty familiar with electrical work at this point. It's not too much that confuses me. But, you know, we continually make small progress towards, you know, things that are better. So yeah, this is that attic space. This is where the kids will be on this side. I don't have any lights up here yet, which is a little annoying, but that'll be probably after the drywall's done. Oh, one thing that I was trying to think about then is like, if I am going to enclose this space, I was just going to do like 1/2-inch drywall and R19 insulation. If I am going to enclose this space, what do I do about an entryway? Because I'm not too sure if you saw here, but when I walked up, these are the stairs that go up right here. See? I kind of need to enclose this and put like a hatch door, right? To keep the cool and the heat. If this is going to be an air conditioned space, so to kind of keep it temperature regulated, I'm going to have to do something. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a box that sits over these steps that's, 12 inches high or something like that, and then have a lightweight door on top of it that kind of comes down into a thing that can keep the temperature. So it'll be insulated or something. So right here at this doorway, I'm going to have to build a thing that you have to step over to get into, but then you also can't fall down the stairs. So I'm going to try that out today. I'm going to look at options for that, but I think I need to do that because I don't want it's going to get hot. If I don't do HVAC up here, then I'm sorry, you're not even seeing this spot. So if I don't do HVAC, it's going to get ruddy hot, and the kids are not going to want to play up here 8 months of the year. And I'm not going to want to work up there on a train set 8 months of the year. So I need to put an HVAC unit in here, and I'm already pricing all that out and getting it ready to go. But right here, I'm going to have to build something with like a door hatch that I can come out of, but then I can let it go, and it will slow close, but then it will also kind of fit nicely into a what am I trying to say? Like an insulated, sealed up space. So that's some challenge I've got to figure out. I have to figure out where to begin, because so people aren't hitting their heads. But it's going to have to be a custom job, I think. So I'm going to check that out today and see what I think. I have some leftover boards from a previous build. So yeah, I'm gonna check that out and figure that out. All right. Well, it is 11:30. When time keeps going here, you guys keep chatting. So it's because the walls are cold. So even if the air is warm, without the heat radiating off the walls, it feels cold. Agreed. Hey, how's the head height in there? So I cannot stand up straight if I put drywall on the ceiling. I have to bend over, which is fine. It's actually not designed to be a livable space. It's supposed to be for storage. So I don't want it to be something that because also regulations and things like that. I just want to do a light drywall, but I do have to bend over to walk through there. But the kids can stand up, and my wife can stand up and walk. I think it's a 5-foot ceiling. So yeah, that's the issue. I enjoy not falling down the stairs. Bat pole. With the bat pole elevator rig, saves space. The bat pole elevator rig. Or enclose the stairway and put a sealed door at the bottom. Let's look up bat pole. Bat house? No. Bat houses? No. Bat pole. There's a lot of stuff on here for bat houses. No, not bat house, bat pole. Because that's certainly not what you mean. The best bat houses. I need a bat pole. Our property attracts bats. Okay, so clearly this is not what you meant. It's like a fireman's pole, but with more Batman. Okay. To the bat poles. Minecraft. Oh, that's funny. 13 bat poles and house design ideas. Ooh. So the bat pole has a ladder. This is kind of cool. Totally should do a bat pole. I should do a bat pole from my office. That's what I should do. Why is it called a bat pole? I'm not too sure I understand, but whatevs. This would be so cool. You know what I really want to do? I really want to get like a tube slide and install it so the kids can like go down a slide. That would be awesome. Like Batman. Yeah, thanks. Think Adam West, John. Yeah, it's like as in the Batman show from the 60s. I forgot that you're younger than I am. Not by much, though. I'm in my early 40s, and I get the reference. Yeah, same. Google Batman Bat Cave polls. Read your comments, John. There we go. Just catching up. But whose bust will he have to open to push the button? Every gadget in Batman is a bat something. Understood. I'll have to really think this through, guys. The question is so now we're going to look up Batman's bat pole. Ooh. It has a lift? Ooh, I love that. I'll take a lift. Yeah, so I contemplated, because the kids use like the fireman's poles at the playground, right? So they're cool with that. But what I really want is a slide. And I don't know if I probably have to custom order that. And where to put it is the other question. But it would be so stinking cool. It's certainly, there's somebody, because like, where are all these city parks getting these slides, right? Custom park slide. Custom slides. A-OK playgrounds for custom slides. Indoor slides. That's what I want. Man. Just All right, 10 feet 6 inches. This is a 12-foot slide. I think this is the one that I would need. Call for more details. Sales at aokplaygrounds.com. Made in the U.S. So something like this, I don't particularly like how it's the color of a turd, but something like that would be amazing. And I could totally frame it up upstairs. 12-foot indoor slide. 12 foot 8 inches. And it's wrapped around a single pole, so that would be awesome. I could easily do that. Why don't you just have like rough pricing? Just tell me what I'm up against here. You know, that's all I need to know. I need to know how much am I up against, because a cruise ship escape slide, just a tube of fabric with ribs. Buy a bunch of blue pickle barrels and screw them all together. No, I want my kids to survive this toy. 13 feet. Whoa, 19 feet. I need to go outside and like really think. 15 feet. So like they clearly have them. I need to take some measurements, man. Custom pool slide. I wonder if AI would be able to give me, but run the screws in from the inside so you don't get torn up going down the slide. Yeah, that would be a good idea. How much would a indoor slide at 12 feet tall cost on average? Let's see if we can scour the web for an answer. Playground equipment like that is very expensive, tens of thousands of dollars. I'm sure a 3D printer could make one for you. An easy 8-month print. AI doesn't know anything. Slide at that size is 15 grand, is what this thing says. So yeah, it may not be feasible. It may not be feasible, but maybe I could find one on eBay. Somebody's getting rid of. There was a house that we saw when we were shopping for a house before we moved to the Clarkson house. There was a house that we saw that had a slide on like the back porch. I don't know where they got it. It was only like an 8-foot slide. Maybe I could just get a giant inflatable, and then when the kids want to come down, they can slide down. Playground slide. These are not playground slides, y'all. These are baby slides. What about Facebook Marketplace? Maybe somebody's stolen one and wants to get rid of it. Marketplace. What do you want to buy? Indoor. Let's say playground slide. Yep, these are all like Fisher Price $15 ones. That's not what I want. Indoor, or no, playground tube slide. Come on, guys. Have faith. What is that thing? Outdoor playground rope tunnel. Oh, my neighbor has one of those. I was just going to suggest buying used. It's a good suggestion. Yeah, where would I find one though? That's the question. Closing down McDonald's, you know. This AOK custom slides is kind of cool. Indoor slides. I think it would need to be a 12-footer. You know? Used playground slides. I'm sure you can wash out the smell of the homeless person that lived in it previously. Touche. I may not want to buy that. Anyway, yeah, this is all fun stuff. You know, when I hit the lottery that I don't play, maybe I could afford a tube slide. 30-inch inside diameter. It's a flume. Color impregnated UV stabilized plastic. Fantastic variety of colors. Single or multi-flume configuration. What does that mean? Custom design available per your specs. Factory installation. Call AOK Playgrounds. Where are they from? Let's look up their contact info. They are from Texas. That's where they're from. Wowzers. Type of equipment. Indoor playground equipment. All right. Well, anyway, this was fun. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you letting me go down that. Government auctions, probably. Ooh, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that. At the height that it is, I'd want it to be a tube, right? Because you don't want them falling off of it or climbing up it and being goofballs and then having the risk of falling. But, you know, it would be pretty fun. Ooh. I get distracted easily. Facebook Marketplace is not a place that I need to spend any time on because I don't have the money for that. AliExpress, yeah, I probably won't be buying anything off of AliExpress. That place is a little bit shady, right? Anybody else believe me? Zip line from the barn. Attach it to the house. That's a good idea. I like that idea too. I'm going to put this over here. Yeah, zip line. Or we could attach it to a tree in the backyard and then they could go out the window. Yeah, these are all very dangerous ideas. Still be really fun though. Ooh, Angus says he's never had an issue with AliExpress. Oh, okay, that's good. Maybe I spoke too soon. Do you get what you order? AliExpress, they're like, are you sure? Why can't I close this? Okay. Indoor houseplants? No, indoor slide for big kids. Yeah. These are all teeny tiny slides. I think I'm going to have to... Whoa. Rotating molding playground accessories. $7,000. Save $7 when you spend $49. This is a dragon? How cool is that thing? Oh, but it's just the slide. How tall is it? Sorry, let me show you what. So it's clear. That's so funny. How tall? It doesn't actually say how tall it is. It's just random info. View more information. Transparent for all ages. It has no information about its height. You would think that that would be a pretty crucial piece of, and shipping is only $1,500. How convenient. Yeah, you would think that the height of the slide would be mentioned first, right? Because that's going to be fundamental, unless you're just building your house around the slide or your playground around the slide. That seems kind of important. Hey, I'm full of highly impractical ideas. You must be an AV technician. Every time he's had success. All right. Oh yeah, one kid slacklining as the other one zips. Fast footwork. Slacklining on the top of the zip line. That's a real plan. That's the real plan. Yeah, I think we've taken this a little too far, guys. I was just looking for a slide. Yeah, the slides that are on here are either $200 or $20,000. Stair slides. Could just get a slide for the stairs. Right? I've seen these things before. I don't think I trust them to ride on them, but I've seen them. Okay, go ahead and allow things that this website's spam. Yeah, I've seen these before, where you like stack them on the stairs and slide down. How many children's stair slide install free indoor household corridor anti-slip thickening? How many? How many come in a pack? No mention of how many. Per? Is it just one? This is very confusing. It must just be for one. One piece, no cushion. That's what it says. One piece with cushion. All right, so they're $150 a piece. Yeesh. Plus shipping is only $220. Uh-oh. Am I still live here? Hello? Did I die? Did the stream die? I'm watching myself react here. My battery backups came on and then turned off. So that's interesting. Weird. All right. Well, I'm still watching this show, so hopefully I'm still live. I imagine that you'd work that out with the supplier. Hey, let's ramp this up, Rocket Boots. A stair sled? You got to get a steel slide that sits in the sun all day, burns your backside when you slide down on it. Fun with burns. That's how my childhood was. It's true. I believe my childhood was that as well. We had a metal slide right in the middle of the playground, which is right in the middle of our little town. Hey, yeah, you're live. You're still good. All good. Okay, thanks, guys. We definitely had one. And yeah, that was a painful experience both in the winter and then in the summer. So it was also good in Southern Ontario for, it was good. It was good during the year for about 2 or 3 months. Yeah, there was a brief cutout a few minutes ago, but you're all good. Okay. Phew, not too sure what happened there, but let's hope nothing. All right, we are coming up on 2 hours on this show. 2 hours of me talking, which is probably plenty. Hey, I'm expecting sometime, I think, it's being shipped to the house, I am expecting to get a Blackmagic audio monitor. And it's kind of this idea, but it shows it on the screen and it shows whatever the audio is. And we're getting one of these so that we can monitor our live stream. My sound engineer can monitor the live stream on a bigger scale. Right now he just has a little like confidence monitor. And I want him to see the audio levels, big time. And you can also preview there's a little monitor on it that previews the program as well. So we are going to set him up with that, but I think it's being shipped here because he's traveling. And if it shows up at my house, the next week I'm going to do a product review of it. So I don't know many people who have one, and I don't know many people who use one, and I'm very interested in knowing what the scale is, how it sets up. I don't have an SDI source in here, so we'll just have to unbox it and take a look at it. But it's going to be pretty cool to have that. I hope it's here. Yes, those are the day 2 or 3 non-consecutive months. Yeah, it's true. So hopefully I'm going to be able to have that next week and show that. In the meantime, I'm going to get working on the garage. I've got a little bit of time to do that. And I need to make sure everything's all set up for Sunday, which is automated to go off live. But, I'm still here, so I'm going to be moderating chat and doing a bunch of things. So that'll be good. And looking forward to some new gear showing up and maybe upgrading some systems. So I used the old version of that audio monitor at a previous job. And how was it? Because I think we bought the new one. So I want to see how it works. It's mostly for my audio guy, for my sound engineer, so that he can see the audio on the stream nice and big, no questions about it. So we're getting that ready for him. It worked pretty well, as I recall. I've been considering getting the new one. I've never been a big fan of the audio monitor due to the lack of reference calibration. Using the monitor output of the HyperDeck ticks all the boxes for me. See, that's what we have. We have not the HyperDeck, but we're using a 3G studio monitor, and it has the little meters on there, and it shows the picture, but it's kind of the opposite of what we want. I want the audio meters to be big, and I want him to also see the show. As small as it is, but I just want to have it on the monitor. But I want him to see the audio meters nice and big. And so that's the plan with this, is he's going to be able to kind of he's going to be able to make sure that his sound going out to the stream is adequate and where we want it every single week. Hey, as you're about to wrap up, can you discuss anything about NDI real quick? What would you like to talk about? Yes. Actually, there was something that kind of came up. So I don't know if you saw yesterday's Bird Dog live stream with Anthony and Bird Dog extraordinaire project engineer Frink, but they announced something called, I don't know, like Copilot or something like that. What was it? Flight Path. That's what it is. And evidently it's a way to record your cameras to do a routine, as far as I understood. Now, I wasn't able to really attend the stream very long, but I did get the gist of it from the on-screen information that was available, that basically you can program it with the new keyboard, a path for the camera to take, and then you can execute that as a preset. That's kind of cool. It's a good idea. I think for repeatable sequences, that would be all right. For theater stuff, like for for sure that this is the way the actors are going to move, that works really well. I'd really like to see some advances by NAB or something, some advances in their auto tracking stuff. Now, I know that they've recently signed up a partnership, as did many companies, with a company called, what was it called? Where is it here? Bird Dog. Did I save it here in Bird Dog? There was like some automation thing that everybody started using, and maybe they put it on their LinkedIn page. Bird Dog Company. Well, come on now. All right, there it is. Yes. Let's just go here real quick and take a gander. It was before the holidays. Brayton brought his dog. Oh, they got a new support dog. She's on the clock 3 days a week with Brayton helping our customers across the world. She's not our secret to productivity, but we're also not saying it. Yes, and this is Bring Your Furry Friend to Work Day, evidently. Brayton is now back upstairs. He had a big system downstairs before I left, and then they moved him back up. Let's keep going here, because there is It was right around this time they announced this partnership, as did with like many. Shoot. Basically, though, it's an AI tracking company that integrates with cameras natively, and then they use their software to do it. I know that there's onboard tracking with BirdDog. That's actually something I'm going to kind of hone in, because we are looking at changing our PTZs, and I'm going to pit them against, like, in terms of performance. HyperDeck Monitor UI shows all that stuff for all 16 channels and the image. Ooh. Oh, that's very cool. Think it's solid? Could be good for church choirs and congregational coverage. Pre-recorded movements make sense for me only with sliders and for jibs and totems. Yeah, and okay, so there are some sequences that it makes sense. Like if you're doing, so your jibs, if you have boom arms and things like that, then it makes sense to, especially automate it all, then it can run the sequence. The issue with live production and repeating paths is that it starts to look familiar. Like people start recognizing that, and it doesn't look. The point of a live event, and this is kind of a cool creative thing to think about, is the point with a live event is you want people to, at home, who are watching it on their screens or their phones or whatever, to feel like this is not something that is repeatable. A repeatable action, an automated repeatable action, is for a production that is repeatable, and that's why I bring up the theater thing. Perhaps, the actors are doing this for 4 or 5 days a week, and you know that actor A and actor B are going to move from stage left to stage right, upstage, downstage, stage left. You know that sequence, and you can actually time it out, and you can actually coordinate it. Then kind of like a path to follow makes some sense. But in the live world, I think it makes more sense to emphasize your auto tracking functions, because auto tracking is the ability to follow a live subject that is not, you're not predicting what they're going to do. Keynote speakers are a great example of this, why you wouldn't use flight path over auto tracking, because keynotes are going to deliver a message, and maybe they're going to deliver it 50 times, but he or she is going to walk across the stage differently, potentially every time. So unless it's heavily rehearsed and it's a presentation and they are, they're like carbon copying this, which is pretty rare. If a keynote, even like a TED Talk or something, those are not rehearsed movements. And so I don't know if the return on investment for something like Flight Path makes sense from a business standpoint. I think it would make more practical use to emphasize, like to do more with auto tracking, just because the whole point of the camera is the live thing. So to drive home more emphasis on we're recording a live event, and we're going to work really hard at making sure our cameras are the best at recording live. The pre-record stuff, again, I guess I've never really seen BirdDog as like a studio camera. I see them, especially because they're heavy on PTZ, I see them more as a live camera. People use them in studios, it's true, but it doesn't really but the PTZ thing doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you're going to set them up inside a studio. Like when I had them at BirdDog, I had PTZ cameras inside my production studio, and it was nice to have them and finesse them in Studio Monitor and get them just perfect, like position them. But I rarely use the motor function in that scenario. And quite honestly, I would rather, if I was to build a video studio, I would rather invest in less motorized function and more higher quality cameras, because I'm not really going to be moving around. I'm going to be sitting in a chair and talking to Cam 1. Whereas PTZs are kind of meant for live. I mean, look at the OG4, the new A200 replacement. That is meant for outdoor, like, sports, all weather, beat it up or put it on a launch pad. Like, these are items that are moving. The purpose of that camera is not only the optics, but the movability, the ability for it to withstand brutal environments and capture high quality video, right? So when we think about PTZs, I think the emphasis should really be on the why we use PTZs. We use PTZs for live action the most. That's like the top tier thing. I think being able to program and maybe I'm missing some stuff. I didn't watch the full, thing, so I probably should go back and watch the live stream. But like from the gist that I gather was it's more about pre-programming your movements and then executing a movement. Cool. When you might use that, I don't know. Maybe you're using it to, okay, I have a look for center stage, I have a look for stage right, a look for stage left. Maybe that's the way you're managing it. And so preset 1 moves the camera smoothly into stage, stage right appropriately. Okay. Maybe I know the cadence in which my minister walks. Maybe he's an old guy, and so he moves slowly, and so I can execute a preset when he starts moving that way. And we tell him go to this spot, so you put 3 X's on the stage, and if you're going to walk over there, walk to there, because all of our camera presets are set for that. Okay, cool. I get it. I just don't know. I find that a very unique situation, not a situation where everyone's using that, Since you only cut to them occasionally, you only see snippets from different portions of the travel. I think we're saying the same thing. The only pan, tilt, repeated movement doesn't really make sense. Agreed. I agree on the issues with repeated movements, but there are some shots like pans of a choir loft or pans of the congregation. They often end up being very repeatable. Well, that's a good thought too. Audience shots, because your audience doesn't normally sit in the same seat every week, like they move around a little bit. I mean, you have those who have their assigned seats, who think that they should have assigned seats, but that's church politics. Agreed. Your audience does change, and so you could set up an audience shot on an inexpensive PTZ that's at stage and point at the audience. What I have found is that the audience really doesn't like cameras being on them. So unless you're doing like a wide shot and it's kind of a broad thing, or you're doing like a conference where people know there's going to be audience shots. But I do find that crosses with your home congregation. There might be some concerns about that. If I can set a camera on a flight path and set up a second camera while the first one does that movement, that's a big win, especially when I'm running the booth solo. Yeah. Okay. So excellent point is that, yes, you could automate the first movement. If you're the only PTZ operator, you don't have camera ops like I do, then yeah, that makes sense to do the first movement and set up the second shot and then go back. So take cam 1, it's on the minister, it's doing like a tight shot, or no, it's doing a wide shot, like a mid shot or whatever. Then you switch to cam 2, which is doing a sequence, and you say go cam 2, and it starts doing a sequence. You cut to that shot, and it's watching the audience, and then you zoom in cam 1 to do a bust shot or elbows up, and then when that sequence is done, or when you're ready for it, you cut back to the closer shot so it looks like you stepped in. Yeah, makes total sense. If you don't have camera ops and you're running solo, which I do know in Bird Dog's situation, they do talk about that a lot, saying a lot of our customers. Now, I don't know if the phrase "a lot of our customers" is based on data or is based on anecdotal emails, I don't know if a lot of their customers, if that statement is based on data, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt that perhaps it is. But, what also constitutes as a lot? Like 5, 100, 1,000? How many customers are we talking about here? A lot? Like this week I talked to somebody about it. So, there's varying degrees of that that you also have to take into account. So are you creating the product because the demand is there, or are you talking about the demand because you made the product? There's two different ways to think about that. And I'm not claiming anything about Bird Dog, and I don't know anything about their product, their customer base anymore. But there is that kind of chicken or the egg situation. Agreed. Automation is always something that needs to be used carefully, and I would say sparingly. The human element is key. I almost never use audience shots. Like a pan up from a guitar close up to a waist up shot, maybe. Yes, that shot though, because the guitar player hopefully is sitting for this shot, but because the guitar player is a human and not a robot, I would probably feel more comfortable doing that manually. Because on the off chance that the guy decides to shift if you're doing a tight guitar shot with a focus on the guitar, and typically you focus on the strings or his hands, if you're going from that shot to pulling back and showing like a sitting guitar player, there's too many variables there, I think, to not do that to do that shot manually from a manned camera or a PTZ joystick. So perhaps, I could see it. Maybe it's maybe not as big of a movement, more like a subtle pullback. Maybe, yeah. But here I'm trying to justify it, right? Like the use case is not extremely obvious to me. And so it's curious then how widely used this function will be. Or based on who they choose to target as their audience. There's the old saying, you don't get to choose your customers, or your family for that matter, but you do get to choose your friends. So I'm excited. I hope that I hope I'm missing something, and there's a high probability that is the truth. But they've got flight path now, and that's it's kind of a
That's pretty neat.
Pretty neat set of features. I don't think that they need to keep saying episode 23, 24, 25. I think they could probably stop saying that now. They've done enough of them, right? They're in the 20s, so it's a repeatable show. Anyway, that's just my personal opinion. I guess Bird Dog is going to Barcelona, ISE, so they will be there at stand 5D400. So if you're going to be in Barcelona for IC, go for it. Tell them I say hey. I will not be making it for that one. Anyway. Oh, Keycode Media did an article. Well, all right, we're getting off track here. All right, well, anyway, one of these shows, probably not, or maybe the next one, I need to go down my list of things that we're looking for at NAB, and I need to hear from you guys of what I need to be conscious of while I'm there. Because although it's in April, we're actually already halfway through January. Christmas was 3 weeks ago, more than 3 weeks ago, and a lot has happened between now and then, but we're already halfway through the first month of 2026. So time is a-moving. And that means the beginning of April will be upon us, and I will need to be making final preparations for that trip. So we probably need to start talking about it at some point. And I have a list of things that I already want to see, and I'll go down that list with you of future projects that we have kind of up and coming. But I need to know what you guys are thinking about what's coming up at NAB and what I should keep my eyes open for. And if you want me to make any videos while I'm there, I might just do that. because I have the means and I have the desire. So let's do that. Let's make some videos, and that'll be a lot of fun. I'll put them up on my channel. So let me know what you're thinking about, if you have any interest in that. And you don't get to pick your friend's nose. That's disgusting. Alrighty. And on that note, I think we're out of ideas. Lent and Easter happened before NAB this year. Yikes. Oh, yeah. So there's going to be thankfully, the congregation I work for doesn't do a huge emphasis on Lent and Easter. We do something for Easter because that's a pretty important one. But we don't do a whole ramp up to it, and so it's usually just the single service, and our format doesn't change. It's just the topic of the sermon is usually on point. So we will be doing I think we're doing a short series working into it. The series we're in right now ends in March. So the first week of March, I think, is the last day of that. So yeah, we won't have a very big ramp up to Lent and Easter. And again, we don't do like a whole bunch of specific like staging and yada yada yada. It's just pretty straightforward, which is really nice. Hey, have a great day, everyone. I've got a meeting in a few minutes. Adios. Thanks for coming by, and let me know how things go this week. We'll be back next week, hopefully with something to talk about. Watch my channel for whatever. It'll be probably like Tuesday or Wednesday by the time I figure out exactly what we're going to talk about. But it'll either be about the Blackmagic audio monitor, or it will be about expectations for NAB and things that I'm hoping to see this year. I've had discussions with my coworker, so we're kind of on the same page, and I have a big, giant, long laundry list of things that I want to try and find. So here we go. It'll be great. And thanks for coming along, everybody. It was fun to have a chat with you. Thanks for hanging out. Be sure to like the live stream and also subscribe if you haven't done so. You can also check me out over at Keystone AV Networks on YouTube and on LinkedIn. Follow along for more information. That's my little company that I have. I do network installs, NDI, Dante, all sorts of things. So come and hang out over at Keystone AV Networks. It looks something like this, and I would be thrilled if you would follow me along. I actually recently got business cards. So they're just blank on the back because that one's totally blank. There's blank on the back because the front is, let me fade over here. The front is QR code with some of my information. And that QR code adds my contact information to your phone. So I don't even have to give these out. If you don't want to carry it around, if I see you at NAB or something like that, I could just say, hey, scan that QR code. You scan it with your phone, and it adds my contact information to your phone. So then you don't even have to carry this thing around. You're welcome to have it, though. And I will have them at NAB while I'm chatting with people. But I want to give some out to some folks that have been helpful. And the other thing I was going to ask was, are you going to NAB? And if you are, we should totally run into each other. That'd be a lot of fun. Last year I saw Sean on the show floor, and he just kind of like bumped in and was like, hey, John. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, I know you. I've seen your face. So he was like, hey, I'm Sean. I'm usually on your show. And I was like, oh, man, no kidding. So, so good to run into him. And if you're going to be there, Sean, if you're going to be there, let me know. And if anybody else is going to be there, I'd love to bump into you and shake your hand and say hello and get to know you. So I'll give you a business card. But let me know if you're going to be at NAB. I'm going to plan to be there, and my coworker Dave is going to plan to be there, and we hope to see you there as well. So start making plans. It'll be a blast. It'll be lots of fun. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. I'll look at the chat real quick. Hey, thanks, John. See you soon. Come on back next week, and we'll check it out. NetHab says, hey, I think I'm going. So that'd be awesome. That would be great. Let's run into each other. I can't go. I'm having budgeting issues. Ugh. Nuts. Well, then I'm really thankful that I got to shake your hand and say hello to you last year. So that's nice to know that you're... Hey, I'm hoping to go this year. I've missed it for the past few. Last year's show was great. I mean, we got a lot out of it, and we made some big changes in our studio because of it. So I don't have the same expectations because it was Dave's first year last year. So he was kind of overwhelmed and wowed. but I don't have the same expectations about it being as revolutionary as it was for us last year, but I'm willing to be shocked. So here's hoping. That'll be great. And if you can be there, make some plans. Let me know. Maybe we should plan a meetup somewhere and just have a 30-minute sit down. Maybe we'll bombard VMix booth, or I hope Tom Sinclair gets to go this year, because it would be really good to have him, head of Streaming Idiots, have him hang around. And it's been several years. It's been since 22 since I've seen him. I interviewed him on a podcast for Bird Dog, and we did like a whole 45 minutes. It was great. I'm going to go back and watch that because it was a good interview. And I was young back then. It'd be great. We should meet up. So let me know if you're going to be there. Take care of yourselves, guys. Man, I love hanging out with you guys. And hopefully we'll see you guys next week, and I'll have something worth talking about. So take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time around. Bye, guys.